Christo. Hi, and welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. And well, we're doing, as you saw there in the intro, we're doing cross-pollination. And what's that? That's when we promote somebody else's show. We're cross-pollinating, and we were joking backstage. It's like cross-contamination. So we're going to hope that we bring you a good show tonight. And if you're new to this, maybe you're some of the, this other program's show guests or whatever. We have the live chat on here, and we are live on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and YouTube, and you can comment on all those in a live chat except for LinkedIn. I don't know how that works yet, but Twitter's new. You can actually do that with the Twitter, and hey, this is going to be fun tonight. Now, if you were watching the show last week, you noticed that I got kicked off the air like 3 times. Well, never fear. I got us a new router, and we're supposed to have really good reception now. We're going to see if we can make it through a show. I hope we can. Well, it's going to be fun tonight. It's going to be fun. I've got a really good conspiracy theory tonight that I think you're really going to enjoy, and I think you're going to enjoy this other group here. They're doing their sort of thing, and we're going to compare notes tonight. Looks like we got everybody backstage. Tiffany might be coming in a little late, but we are going to go ahead and bring on our guest tonight. Let's see what we have here. There we go. Let's do this way. Yeah,
there we go.
We'll put you like that and have your beautiful banner back there. Gentlemen, we'll start with you, Brandon. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having us on.
Okay. And Kristopher, how are you?
We're doing just fine, thank you, and we're glad to be here.
Okay, yeah, your show came across our radar last week when we were talking burning the bridges of Madison County, and you guys sound like you're right up there in the fire. Maybe you even lit a couple matches. So we'll start with you, Brandon. What in the heck made you get in this wonderful world of podcast news, whatnot that we do?
Well, I guess that's kind of a fun story. I've always kind of been involved in politics. I was always interested. I always voted. My wife was a teacher at the time, and there's a lot of legislation coming out that was really impacting her job, and we had some strong opinions on that. So started getting involved with local politicians. One in particular wasn't very responsive. Had not a lot of good times with him. Ended up getting into some arguments, etc. Actually caught Kristopher's attention, and initially I think he had read a letter I wrote to the editor in the newspaper. Then producer Kate kind of connected us, and for a while there, I guess I was kind of an honorary producer. I would submit like content and ideas to him and be a guest every once in a while. And then finally he kind of invited me on. I kind of started getting involved and doing the show with him.
Yeah, I was watching one of the shows, and it was just there was Chris on there, and it was like, man, it is tough when you just have to sit there and talk, and you don't really have any guests or anything to bounce off of. It's harder than a lot of people think to do that. So Kristopher, tell us a little bit about this story with Brandon, because I think it got a little bit of traction there on how people treat other people, whether you can block them on your social media thing. Am I barking up the right tree?
Yeah. So there's 3 of us on our team. We're of course called the Political Spotlight. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook, and we produce a weekly show, a weekly show, weeknight show. Basically, we're on 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday. Live at 9 p.m. and we normally produce about an hour and a half to 2 hour long show. I've been doing this broadcasting, talking about politics, on and off in some format, either live video, audio podcast only, or on YouTube now since about 2016. I've been involved in politics at the local, state, and national level for many, many, many years. And it really picked up probably in 2015, 16. I was in a Winchester City Council meeting. I was born and raised in Muncie, Indiana, lived in Muncie until about my 30th year on Earth. Moved to Winchester, spent 10 years in Winchester, and I'm back in Muncie now. But when I lived in Winchester in November of 2017, I was in a meeting and I was kind of upset about what was going on. It was a standing room only meeting. There was a lot of contention. And I stood up in November 2017 and I let my counselors know at the end of the meeting, the business was all done. There was some back and forth between the council and between the audience. And I stood up and let them know that I thought that they were a joke. And I said, they had been telling people they were out of order all evening. And I said, you guys are out of order. You're a joke. And I then was walking out and I found myself being slammed into the wall. My arms twisted behind my back. Handcuffs were put on me and I was taken to jail. And I was jailed for disorderly conduct. And it was like ridiculous. The prosecutor in the matter declined to file charges. He filed a 4-page memo stating that it was unlawful and it was an unjust arrest, and said that, obviously the arrest was no good because I was conducting myself as Americans should, utilizing my First Amendment political speech. And so from that really lit the fuse for me to get active and bring more people into the fold. And then in 2000 or 2021, sometime around there, I found out that Brandon had an issue with a state representative from District 33, which is in the same area of us, J.D. Prescott, and that Brandon had been trying to ask a very legitimate question. Brandon wasn't being rude. He wasn't being crazy. He wasn't obscene. He was asking about Bill. Yeah, right. It was great. It was, a perfectly legitimate question. And Representative Prescott blocked him from an official page. And Brandon went through the ACLU and sued and fought this big battle to get this, his rights restored. And that's how I found out about him. And then we kind of gelled from there. So we've been fighting this fight. You hear the term First Amendment auditor. I'm not a big fan of that name, and we don't do the exact same thing that First Amendment auditors do, but I consider myself a constitutional auditor.
Yeah, I didn't know we had a couple of criminals on tonight, but that's you'll fit right in here. I mean, I would say that, that I've had my run. You had a good experience with the ACLU. I had a bad experience. They were in big support of House Bill 480 last year, which was basically what I called it was genital mutilation for underage kids. Wow. Oh, I testified and I took them to task on the Twitter. I mean, it was all out war against them. Well, I was with a group that we served homeless folks on their parking lot, and they got so mad at me that they kicked our entire group off the lot. And
wow.
Yeah, it was so that's why I knew we had a victory. It all worked out well. I think they were trying to get me in trouble with that, and we went to Mission 27 around the corner. It's a better place. They love having us there. And guess what? This weekend, the water main broke in front of the ACLU and their whole parking lot was flooded. So, hey, I'm not saying that it was God saying punish them, but I'm just saying it was God punishing them. So that's what I'm saying. Well, I can tell this hour is going to go fast. So anybody that's viewing, so after this hour, these guys usually go a couple hours. I'm going to jump on their show and be their guest. So this will be a lot more fun. I want them to push buttons and all that good stuff, and then they can grill me for questions and all that. But I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and play Mark Small Talk. And I just want to say that I'm just very appreciative of working with Mark Small. He's our left-leaning Republican. Left falling over Republican. And he's so far left that they think he's a Democrat. So there you go. But he does a segment called Small Talk, and he gets a couple minutes every week, and he'll put his 2 cents in on the subject. And he's very good. I don't have to bug him. He sends it in. It's always good. It's professional. It's all that. So we're going to play that. And then we're going to get our panelists out here. And it does not look like I see Tiffany back there, but Lucy and Brad will give you all your worth. So let's go ahead and listen to Small Talk, and we'll bring the panel on the other side.
Hi, I'm Mark Small. This is Small Talk. There's a bill before the Indiana House of Representatives right now, HB 1338, sets up a structure for local units of government to establish rules for public comment during meetings, including restrictions on time. If somebody gets 2 warnings on the 3rd warning, 3rd strike, they are removed from the meeting, they can be charged. That's kind of a bad thing, because if the meeting is on school property, for example, and it's a school board meeting, that can be a felony. So what message does that send to people? Because the statute itself doesn't make requirements for how much time is to be allowed for comment or anything. It's meant to have a chilling effect. People are showing up to meetings and they're expressing their disdain for policies that are being set forth. Last summer, Hamilton East Public Library Board of Trustees had meetings. One member of the board was talking over people as they were trying to talk. Well, if you did that and you were working for me, you'd be fired. And then when people were talking, he'd be talking to somebody else on the board, not listening to people from the public. Listen, I've chaired a lot of public meetings, a lot of meetings of organizations. All you need to do is up front tell people what the time limits are and let people speak. One comment about in this article that I read about the statute was, well, some people just start going on and even talking about things that aren't relevant. Yeah. So what you say is, this isn't relevant to what we're discussing. You know, you're getting close to the end of your 2 minutes. People are normally going to be pretty considerate about it. This is a statute that's unnecessary. It's meant to chill speech, because gee whiz, if you show up at a public meeting on this, you might get charged with criminal offense. So we need to put an end to that. Don't pass this bill, Mark. Small talk piece.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to put you guys on the bot. Wait, where did Lucy go? We lost Lucy. She's here, and there she is. Okay, now this will work. This is like the Brady Bunch, and she's Marsha. So wow, Mark Smalley was talking about, that's what we're going to talk about, this bill 1338 House bill, and it sounds like you guys are going to be in big trouble if you go to meetings. I mean, it's like, and I wouldn't even want to see Lucy in a meeting. She would definitely be jail bound. I've seen Mark, I've seen Brad in meetings, and I've seen Tiffany on the other side of this. So we're going to have a lively discussion tonight. And Brad is well behaved in these meetings. He got up, and he said his piece. He was like ordering soup with a soup Nazi. He got in line and he went right over, and then they gave him his but Cassie Jackson, who's he's in our live feed tonight. She was all over the place there. So yeah, I get that. So let's see. Tiffany, I'm going to go across the panel here. Tiffany, it's good to see you back. I'm sorry we didn't get you on last week. We had our expert David Shelton on, but we're glad to have you back.
Oh, you know what? proud to share my seat with David Shelton. He's absolutely amazing. So not a problem on my end. I think I went to bed early, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, nothing like supporting the show or anything. I see how you are. So, Lucy, how's it going down in Salem? Have you burned any witches at the stake tonight or today or anything?
They're outside my door right now with pitchforks. So if you hear anything, that's what it is. I'm just really excited about this time of year. All the plants are dormant. It's time for us to regather our energies. And pretty soon I'll be propagating elderberries and blackberries. Maybe I'll bring some up for your chickens.
Hey, leave your personal life out of this. I'm telling you, I don't want to know about those elderberries.
It is like the ugliest time of the year right now, Lucy. It is cold and just god awful.
It makes you appreciate the spring.
It's the color of winter is brown if it's not white, so it's all good. So Brad, how you doing tonight? We talked earlier. Usually you're sporting the Bud Light, but you just went straight to the whiskey tonight.
Yeah. I saw some Jim Beam, and it's been a while. So, but you don't know because it's in a red cup. So
that's right. We won't mention it. We won't mention it at all. So, well, hey, this is
but I did want to kind of correct Mark. The bill it doesn't apply to school boards.
He is correct.
Yeah.
School boards and they school boards and like charter schools too. So like those
still cause having then. Yeah, you're still hot. And we might
there's another about is it 1338?
Yes.
1338. Yeah, it's about decorum in meetings and that. And I do agree with Mark about if you run a good meeting, you can and let people speak. I think the biggest thing is letting people speak. Sometimes, you know, it's like giving somebody an open microphone. You never know what they're going to say. It's like having a kid or a dog on your show.
Even if they listen, though, John, I mean, do you guys remember like the debate about the abortion ban? Everybody was against it. Like nobody wanted the bill to pass as it was written, and they still passed it. So
yeah, even John Jacob didn't want it.
Yeah, I mean, like
the
100% of the people. So what was the? I guess that always rubs me the wrong way because like that was.
You got to say your piece. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start this questioning of our witnesses here. I mean, our suspects. I mean, our victims. So, Lucy, I'm gonna let you start it out while your internet's still good.
Yeah, exactly. Before they burn the house down. You know, actually, I'm always really curious, and I'm going to direct this towards Christopher first, and then Brandon second. Political commentary is a thankless job, and people want to cancel you and hate you. So, why did each of you take this on, knowing that this is a miserable existence?
Well, yeah, no kidding. So I mean, like I said in the intro, I've been politically active for a long time, and I think that this is very important. You know, I think our goal is trying to educate and inform through, you know, the factual information, through our lived experience and our opinions, and through a little bit of entertainment in there. You know, I'm very concerned about what's going on in the world today, in the United States today, in Indiana, and in our own little areas. You know, so I think it's important to get folks involved, and that's why I do what I'm doing. And specifically about this bill here, you know, as I told John, I've been arrested for speaking in a meeting for saying you're a joke. I said you're a joke. I wasn't violent. I wasn't crazy. And I was arrested for disorderly conduct. Thank God that was defeated. And we filed a First Amendment rights lawsuit, which I came out victorious on. But that was before this law was put in place. And this representative, J.D. Prescott, who put this law in place, is doing so to protect. This is the session to protect political figures. And I think that that's disgusting. And I feel like people need to know what's going on. So that's why I do what I'm doing. And I'll pass it over to Brandon.
Yeah. So a lot of what Kristopher said, it's funny because our critics, like J.D. Prescott or whoever, will say that we're doing it for clicks or likes or whatever it is. I don't really care about that. I've never really thought about the exact reason I do it, but I'll tell you one of the first things that really motivated me was, first of all, being blocked by author of HB 1338, J.D. Prescott. And then I think one of the biggest things that motivated me was I went to one of his legislative updates, and they tend to do a really good job of not advertising those openly because they don't really want citizens there to question them. So I showed up with a camera. I was like, I'm going to record it. I'll post it online, show it to everybody because I, like Kristopher, I just want people to be informed. So I start recording it, and JD stops in mid-sentence and says, "Hey, you do not have permission to record me. I had better not see that video or pictures of me on social media." And from there I said, well, you're not going to tell me what to do. And so I decided, you know what, I'll record him whenever he's doing a public event where I'm legally allowed to record him. I'll share it with people. I will update people on what's going on in the State House. I want people to be informed. So that's probably my biggest motivation that really got me going. And I've just become good friends with Kristopher and Kate, and it's just kind of fun too. So,
Brandon, do you have like a video of when J.D. Prescott got called out by like his first grade teacher or his kindergarten teacher?
Yes,
and he stormed off.
Because I literally have a picture.
I think that's where this bill is coming from. I don't know what other causes, but seriously, like that did happen, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, Brad, the thing to note, like we told these stories
in a disrespectful manner. It was.
Oh yeah, 100%. You got to remember the author of this bill is the one who I had to sue for violating my First Amendment rights, and then the council that brought the idea to him is the one that violated Kristopher's rights.
Well, wait, what you're trying to say is HB 1338. The B stands for Brandon. Is that what I'm hearing? House Brandon 1338.
Bilbrey, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, but you both get equal share of that. So that's awesome. Well, I really didn't know you guys are such troublemakers. You'll fit right in. You talk about your show. You have, is it Kim that's in that's a producer? Kim, is that her name? Or Kate. Yeah, we're sort of like a little family here. It's like, who would ever thought that a libertarian, a Republican, and a Democrat, and I don't know what I am, could get along, but we seem to get along just fine. So we are like a little family. And we got Adam, our producer. He's backstage. He can't show his face, or he'll be probably tarred and feathered somewhere. I'm sure of it. Plus, a lot of people don't want to be associated with this motley crew, but I'm proud to be with them. So, Tiffany, you've been on the other side of the angry mob. I would think you might like this bill. You want to throw some handcuffs on some people, maybe? I'm talking about in the meeting, okay?
Hard to handcuff anybody. But Kristopher, you did say something that it's disgusting to protect public officials. And I wanted to understand why you think that's disgusting.
Well, I certainly don't ever want to elect an elected official and send them to the state house to make themselves a special class over the citizens. If they're going there and they're getting paid our tax dollars, I want them to be protecting the citizens as a whole. If they are concerned about decorum for maybe citizens, that's fine. I definitely don't want them to be interfering with anybody's First Amendment right. But most of these bills that we're worried about this session, they're focused on protecting themselves as candidates, protecting themselves as elected official from redress and redressing their grievances, and they're trying to insulate themselves in elections. There's another House Bill 1133 that they're trying to push, and they want it to be pushed through in an emergency way, so that if it is gone through and signed, that it will actually be in effect before this primary. And, what they're doing by doing that is they're making themselves a protected class, and they're not concerned about the people who they should be, the citizens. I want elected officials to be safe, obviously. I just don't want them to be spending our tax dollars and their time as legislators to put themselves in a position where they are insulated from, the basic freedom that we have as Americans, which is to redress our government.
Answering questions.
So before we get to you, Brad, I want to put this one up here. This is Ryan Webb. He's a councilman, I think, in Delaware County. He's and so we got famous people watching our show, and he's actually, I need to address him right, as a native woman, American woman. I don't want to.
I heard.
Yeah. He says the bill's unconstitutional. I mean, what do you think of, Brad? I'll start with you on that one. That'll be your question. What, do you think this thing's unconstitutional, or are you good for it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't agree with this at all. Like, we're still talking about the same one, right? But yeah. Oh yeah, because all it is doing is making it to where politicians do not have to be accountable to the constituents. You cannot. I can't tell you. I tried to get a hold of Elizabeth Rowe the whole time before I ran against her, and then when I did, I never got answers back. The only time I got to talk to her was when I went to the it was ILF day at the State House, and the lobbyists that ILF have assisted in getting me a meeting with Representative Rowe. So I had to pay money to an organization to go to this thing in order to speak to my representative. It made me mad on 8 different levels. So
you know what I
say, I
man,
completely get the insulating. That's a great way to put it. They cannot be insulated from answering questions. They want something on decorum. We should get something to where they have to give, a week's notice that they're going to have those public meetings where they're going to be, held accountable to the public, and the public can ask questions and actually get answers. When it's just one-sided, it's just one-sided. We'll ask a question and they will give a response that has nothing to do with it, and we don't have that ability to hold them to that question still and be like, hey, you didn't answer this. It just moves on to something else after 12 o'clock. So
they're pretty good at sidestepping stuff. And you know what I say on this show many times, other than Lucy's catchphrase, taxation is theft, I say I want 80% of getting a hold of my representative is why I vote for him. I have not, my representative hadn't spoken to me in 5 years. Now, of course, I ran against him a couple times, but literally puts his hand up and runs away like a little sissy. And I'm going to say it right here, right now. I got him on tape, just ignoring me and walking away. Now, he might have been a little mad when I put my door hanger on his house door, but, that was good. I thought he wasn't home, and then he pulls in the driveway. It's a little bit awkward, but, it's all good. Maybe I'm partially to blame for this bill. You never know. How long have you guys been doing your show? Kristopher, I guess when I say both you guys, you can't answer the same.
Brandon and I have been working together since, on this venture, we've been working basically since October of 2022. But I had another audio only podcast called Perception is Reality. And he was working basically as a producer, as a writer, kind of giving ideas and such on that since we kind of came into partnership in 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. Would you say?
Got something like that.
I've been producing content like this since 2016 in some format. So
okay, and so we're predominantly Facebook. It seems like you get into a niche. You guys have a lot of YouTube stuff. I've not been happy with YouTube. They've the only thing we've ever been censored on is YouTube. A couple times when we had shows on about the vaccine, and we didn't say that anything other than we said the words vaccine, and poof, we're gone. Now Facebook, Twitter, none of the other ones do. So are you on other platforms, or is YouTube pretty much it?
We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and then the audio side is like on iTunes and Google Podcasts, Spotify, things like that.
Yeah, I don't have time to do this stuff. I mean, I think this is more of a gig for you, and you have a show. I don't know how you do 4 shows a week. I mean, we have so much fun just trying to get one show together. But so, hey, Pamela, you got some more questions? I don't want to just hog all the questions here because I'm curious myself on a lot of stuff.
If I can, real quick, I just had something pop up that I had another someone send me this while we were sitting here talking as an example to the elected officials trying to protect themselves or make themselves different in this session. Another bill altogether, House Bill 1343, which makes the filing of a false lien a level 6 felony, and it increases the penalty to a level 5 felony if the false lien is filed against a public official. Now, I don't know what makes J.D. Prescott anything different than me. I have opinions. I think he may be lesser than I am, but that's my opinion. But I certainly don't know what makes him any more special than I am, that if someone files a false lien on me, it's a level 6. But if someone goes and files a false lien on him, it's a level 5. To me, that's the absolute shows you that they are doing something there this session that is trying to protect themselves and cast themselves out differently than what the rest of us peons are. And that's not what they're there for.
Yeah, how about lowering our property taxes? Well, our show last week, we talked about some, officials that are running for office that have hidden their property information, sort of stretching that law out. It's like a little bit of Nancy Pelosi insider trading type of thing. It's all good, but it just doesn't look right. It smells a little fishy.
Didn't they all give themselves raises too?
Last year.
Yeah, that's always
part of the budget, right?
I have a quick question or just a little bit of a comment about what you're saying about like the change in the felony level if you file a false lien against an elected official. One of the things that I think is really interesting is when you run for office, there's like one of you, and then there's like thousands of people who are looking at you and exposed to you and who want to talk to you. So there's a definite imbalance there. And oftentimes, not all of us are well. Can we all agree to that? Not all of us are well. And so sometimes you get different energy back from people So if somebody were to file a false lien against an elected official, I think sometimes we have to wonder about the motivation behind it. And sometimes it may not be that, I worked on your house, you didn't pay me, it's a mechanic's lien. It's, I'm just trying to ruin this elected official's life and make it very difficult. And, I'm not a career politician, but I will tell you, during 2023, I had to, spend a couple $1,000s putting lights on my home because people liked to come onto my property. And I had to have several conversations with Chief Gephardt, our police chief here, because people liked to test me. And so I think that there's two sides of this. I think certainly the one-on-one dialogue and getting answers to questions that we deserve from our elected officials, I think definitely that's the kind of conversation that everybody deserves. But when people overstep their bounds and they're rude, unkind, disgusting, they're in your space, on your property, violating your rights, they're doing things like that, there is no recourse when you're an elected official unless somebody actually harms you and you can file charges. So there's this gray space between me and you physically.
But this is about at meetings though, Tiffany. This isn't like.
So the thing is that, Brad, there are so many things that happen at meetings and legislative sessions that spills over into you're going out to dinner, you're in your yard, you're at home. So some people can't stop it at a meeting. Some people cannot turn it off, and they ruminate and they take these inopportune times to have these conversations. And so I'm just trying to let you know that there's this definite gray space that is very uncomfortable. And it's that gray space between I've just left a meeting and I'm going to call the police because you are committing a crime. So we would have meetings, library meetings, and you can bring a gun to the library. We're just sitting there like fools. There's nothing you can do. So I just think that you have to understand that being a public servant, you're really.
You could bring a gun to a library too, right?
Pardon me?
You too could bring a gun to a library too, right?
I could, but I wouldn't.
Okay, I'm just saying that you, just as a citizen, could also do that. But I think to your point there, it's important to know the one distinction I would say is, first of all, if anyone breaks the law with anybody, an elected official or citizen or me sitting in my home, if somebody's coming onto my property that's unwanted and they're bashing my door in, I'll pick up 911 and deal with it. I'll pick up my toys and deal with it, or whatever I need to do to make myself safe, as anyone that has that right. The one thing that I can say is, nobody forced anybody to be an elected official. So while I understand the point that you're making there, I find it, it's just, I'm bothered by the fact that people who decided to become an elected official then says, help me, I'm an elected official.
Well,
I think the key word's public.
You're elected to, to serve and to talk to your constituents. It's kind of like what I was active duty military, and the idea
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. And the idea of going to work and dying was fine. It's like, okay, we're going to Oman. We're going to be in the desert for 6 months. We're doing our wartime duty. Okay, we signed all the forms. My daughter's with my husband, and you've got all these other things going on. And if you die at work, you're okay with it because you planned for it. When you're doing politics, it's like, I'm here to write laws, talk to constituents, and then there are people who cross the line. They absolutely cross the line.
That should be dealt with every time.
There are no rules, there's no laws, there's no legislation. There's nothing to protect you as people are crossing the line. And it's not until they do something. It's not until somebody touches you, grabs you, comes onto your property. And so I am not familiar with all of these bills, and I do not know the author, but I understand and I know that there's a gray space. And if people are trying to protect themselves from loonies and clowns and things like that, I
stay off of Twitter. If you want to do that, stay off of Twitter. That's where it happens. So
May I ask just one quick question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Tiffany, you ran for something, or you served as an elected official?
She
I was
is.
recently elected, correct.
I mean, can you say what body that is?
Oh, city council at large here in Fishers, a city of about 100,000 people.
Are you a Republican, a Democrat, Libertarian?
I'm a Republican.
Didn't you see the intro to the show? It says Tiffany, she's the Republican, although it's just in red, so you probably missed that.
Yeah, kind of. That shocks me a little bit, but okay. All right. I just
Why is
wondered.
that? I mean, she
Why are
doesn't
you
sound conservative enough for you.
Why are you shocked? I mean,
It
wouldn't you expect this of an Amish woman? Why are you shocked?
Well, she does date Bigfoot, so I mean, that
No,
just, you know, that's
I just
right
mean
there.
I just kind of those stances. I mean, it's in line with a lot of other Republicans right now in the state of Indiana, and I kind of think that's the problem with what we're seeing here.
Well, she's on the other side of it, Christopher. So I mean, I
Sure.
can totally understand, and you know, it is. That's like our viewpoints. You know, it's like we've had,
Absolutely.
you know, Cassie on, and her.
Oh yeah, I
viewpoint is
respect
not
you
like
completely.
me,
I love
like-
it.
So yeah, so that's you know, we all have our own way to look at things.
Absolutely.
And I also watched somebody get arrested at a public meeting. And one of the things that I thought was interesting was that when it comes to public meeting, like interfering with the business of a public meeting is it's a crime. Like it's a misdemeanor or something. That's the law that will get people arrested. And one of the things that I thought was interesting from being on a board, I really felt like the rules were never communicated to people as to what was your time having public comment, and then what was completely inappropriate for disturbing a public meeting, and when you crossed over, what the ramifications could be. So it's kind of like when you have a parent and all of a sudden they go from 0 to like, you know, like taking you outside to a tree and whooping your ass. So it went really, really fast. But I just think that that's one of the things that we need to communicate is like, this is what we expect. This is decorum. And then this is breaking laws. And then these are the consequences. A lot of people know that I was accosted at a library meeting, and the gentleman was, that gentleman, I'm sorry, I use that very loosely, but he was trespassed from the library for 2 years. And what I thought was very unfortunate about that is, number one, Indy Star and a couple of news crews were there. They never picked it up. Number two, they never said his name in any of the press coverage. Number three, no one ever said what crime he committed and what the issue was. And so when you don't communicate the crime and then the consequences for people don't understand.
Sure.
When something happens, they're like, oh my gosh, why'd they do that to me? It's like, well, no, you did something wrong. And unfortunately, people spend so much time trying to protect other people that you did not know the consequences. So there's a lot that goes into sitting someplace, being a volunteer on a board to represent people in your community that people take for granted. You know, like, I will sit here, I will be at this meeting, but no, you're not going to talk to me like that. You're not going to come onto my property. I'm not going to be part of your clown show. So people just need to understand when to turn it off.
Yep. So Lucy, we want to get Brandon included in here, and I know that you'll have a quality question right now. So, and I'll give you time to think about it. I thought of an analogy today about Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You know what it's like. It's like boxing. You know, when you're on Twitter, you got the big bag. You know, you're really digging into people, and that speed bag is sort of like Facebook. And then if you want Instagram, that's like when you're in the ring working on your footwork. You know, you're like looking pretty and all that. So that's my analogy of what social media has become. And honestly, I think some of that is spilled over into our society. Everybody thinks it's okay to run your jibs like like you're behind your computer keyboard and nobody's going to see you. So anyway, Lucy, did I give you enough time to think of a question?
You know, I have so many questions that are running through my head, but I'm going to propose a thought experiment to Brandon and to anybody else that wants to ask. You know, a lot of people are concerned about making sure that we have our voices heard and everything, but why don't we crowdsource the outcomes and get votes on who has the best ideas? So, Brandon, what would you think about the idea of taking these kinds of meetings and allowing people to submit content ahead of time, get comments on it, and then just like Reddit, have it upvoted, and then only broadcast the most upvoted comments?
That's kind of an
That
interesting
sounds
idea.
libertarian to me. I don't like it.
That's how the robots take over, though, Lucy. AI will
Yeah.
take that over in
The
like
best
Slippery
IA.
slope to
that's
robots.
Terminator 3.
AI.
That's true. And then they would all be AI people, and none of them would be real. But we'd, certainly put them on OnlyFans and make $1 million.
We're
No,
waiting
that-
for that million.
It's kind of an interesting idea. It does make me wonder, though. I mean, in that situation where we're upvoting who we get to hear again, it's like, okay, so you don't like this idea, so it's silence. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? In my city right now, I don't really love how they run their meetings. Like they don't have a public comment section. You have to basically submit a form like a week in advance or 2 weeks in advance, and they'll put you on the agenda. I don't love that because obviously a lot of things happen in the meeting, and maybe you want to comment on what happened today, and then you're going to have to wait a month or so to follow up and tell them what you think. A lot happens in that time. The last meeting I went to, I had very specific questions, and I didn't get to ask them. It's funny because by the next meeting, they were answered by actions that were taken by the city. I don't love that format. So I just have a lot of concerns with HB 1338. In my mind, isn't necessarily. I know, like I get Tiffany's point, a lot of what she said. My concern isn't necessarily that it immediately violates the First Amendment, but it gives a lot of potential for that. So, like Lucy was saying, like voting on things, it's kind of scary to me that it'll be the council president or whoever arbitrarily gets to decide what your 3 strikes are and kick you out. It's not like the council themselves are taking a vote or anything. It's one person has that authority to boot you. So I guess I'm kind of spinning off on your question, but your idea is to have a lot of people have say. This bill is saying that one person just gets to say, no, you're bad, you're done, get out.
And they added an amendment for that too.
Like I was library board president for, I don't know, a couple meetings, and that's the thing. People don't understand that when you're president of that organization, that is your purview. It's like you set the agenda. Public comment is a privilege, it's not a right. And you are responsible for running that meeting, and you do have to make decisions, and everything can't be crowdsourced. Somebody that's what being a leader is. Sometimes you have to make those tough choices. And then also, the leader, it's mutual respect. Respect the person who's running the meeting, and then also I'm going to respect you because you're there, you're in the gallery, you're participating. Most people don't even come to those kinds of meetings. So when mutual respect goes out of the window, and if you're giving somebody a third warning about being quiet,
there was not a lot of respect your board was showing the public at that point.
I'm so sorry, what did you say, Brad?
I said your board was not showing the public a lot of goodwill and trust at all.
Well, and I think part of the problem, Brad, that the one meeting I attended was that they could have 2 minutes to talk, but the board didn't have a chance to ask them questions. I think that would have gone a long way.
The board the board didn't want questions.
Oh, I know, but they should have.
Well, actually, during public comment, it's not a dialogue, because at my very first meeting, people asked questions and I tried to answer them, and I was told that I was not supposed to respond to people during public comment because it was inappropriate. In fact, I got an email from a lady, and she told me that I made her uncomfortable when I answered her question because I was too intimidating. So
there you, Tiffany.
At the legislature, you do this at the legislature.
I don't know if I still have the email, but it's a double-edged sword. It's like people pontificate and they just vomit words. And then if you say, hey, oh, by the way, you asked this question and this is the answer, then all of a sudden your keyboard warrior, your troll is like shrinking because you've actually acknowledged them and given them some information. So some people are not equipped for dialogue. Some people,
we should have
Laura Allerding and
all night long. And then if you try to give them some information that might make them less confused, all of a sudden they're intimidated. So
I've never seen a library board get on the map as much as that Hamilton East. They got on the map. I mean,
library boards should not have a legacy to them.
No, that should not be that. But you know what?
But you know what, Brad? To your point, this is one thing we didn't talk about a couple of weeks ago. Is people will say that the 4 conservatives on the library board that we failed. What I love is that from that experiment, look at the legislation that we're seeing around libraries.
Yeah. We're talking about it tonight.
All we did,
And that's been happening.
all we did was show what you couldn't do, and then they're drafting legislation to fix it all.
Tiffany, that's it. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out, because I was trying to say that it's all been connected this entire time. The first time I knew about Micah Beckwith was at the Purple for Parents conference, where he spoke. Like, it was all at his church. Like, they are all together. Yeah, like, of course they're all trying to do the same thing.
And they're very frustrated. They've held their breath so long that they've turned purple. That's what my theory is on the Purple for Parents. It's like, and that's what leads to our frustration. It's like, I'm going to go a little scripture on here. I'm going to channel some Micah Beckwith. The book of James, it talks, why do we quarrel? Why do we fight? It's because we don't get what we want. Sometimes we just, like the Rolling Stone says, if you try sometimes, you might get what you need. So there's my 2 famous quotes from the Bible and the Rolling Stones, those famous philosophers. So I know that was a lot to take in. Well, hey, since we're only going to be doing an hour tonight, we need to get to this conspiracy theory, because I really have a good one tonight, and I think you're going to be really impressed with how much work I put into this. So
we always only do an hour. I mean, like, all of us.
No, we don't. We run to like 1:20. We quit, and then we do a conspiracy.
It's like an Indiana goodbye anyway.
We're
going to be on
for
for 5 more minutes.
it's terrible. We play a game of euchre. I mean,
Everybody's at home, no ankle monitors. We're good. I mean, all of us.
it's like, No, what do you got? Bigfoot getting out of the garage?
What's up?
So anyway, we got to do. You know what, guys? This has been great. You've seen you've seen how the sausage been made on our show. It turns out more to be like scrambled eggs. But so now I don't know if you know about our conspiracy theory, but it's where some of us put on 10 hats. I think I'm the only person that does it anymore. And then we come up with conspiracy theories. And I know you guys are quick on your feet. You could probably make up something real quick. I generally do, but I have something tonight because I wanted to roll out the red carpet of conspiracy theory for you guys tonight. You're going to love it. I will be going to go last. So, but first we got to play our intro to this while we get our tinfoil hats on. So if you got them, wear them. If you don't, it's okay too, but you better be thinking of a conspiracy.
Hey, y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory. So you better get your tinfoil hat out and let's see what's going on this week.
All right. Oh, Tiffany, he's ready. He's ready for the gas. Got the gas mask going and everything. So that's awesome. So we'll let our guests go first. Do you have any conspiracy you could just like reel off at the top of your head?
Oh, geez, that's something we wanted to start doing. I can't reel one off the top of my head, though. Now I'm on the spot.
Okay, well, I know.
I can tell you. I think the conspiracy. I have one, and I think it's that Representative J.D. Prescott is so afraid that he cannot win this upcoming election that they are working so hard at the State House to put all of these bills in place to stop the public from being able to call out these elected officials, that this is all a conspiracy just to continue to get Prescott reelected to District 33 because he just about lost last election. There you go.
Where's 33?
District 33 is Muncie, or Delaware County, Randolph County, Jay County, Blackford County, part of Henry County.
Is he a Democrat or Republican?
He's a Republican.
Did he run against Dale Basham?
No,
34.
That's 34. He ran against in 20. He's been in the seat since 2018. Last time he ran against Brittany Clower. The time he won the seat, he ran against Sean in the primary. In 2018 to win the seat, Greg Beimer had the seat before him, and he took the seat over running against a Democrat, Sean Byram, and a Libertarian, Dale Arnett, who's now a judge in Randolph County.
All right. Well, I'm going to put somebody in the audience on the spot here because, Janet says she's in District 33. So I wanted to put in the chat whether she supports JD or not. I want to get her in trouble.
No,
I want to see what she'll say.
Is it time for change in that district? Janet, is it time for change?
Hell yes.
We got the whole. We
I
got
have my
like the
opinion,
whole
obviously.
county involved here on this show. I mean, we spread it out.
Oh,
So, there you go. She's not a
No,
fan.
no, she says no, she does not support him. I guarantee you that's a no,
yeah,
she
she's
does
not
not
a fan.
support him.
No,
Clarify that, Jeanette.
We're
Janet?
two kind of opposite questions there. Is
Yeah.
it time for a change, or do you support him?
Yeah.
She says no. Now yes. Now we're really confused. She says no, and then yes. So I don't know.
Hey, put a number 1 in if you do not support JD Prescott. A number 1 if you do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Morse code.
there she goes. Right.
One
correct.
if you do not support.
All right. So it's time for change.
One, she says no.
Ding,
does
ding,
not.
ding, ding,
Okay.
ding.
There
This
we
is
go.
a perfect example on how to make a really hard question. I mean, a really easy question hard. You guys are both ready for the legislature. So you win that prize. Okay, so Tiffany, what do you have anything fashioned up for this conspiracy thing? I mean, it'd be a first, but I think you've had 1 out of 300 shows. So, but go ahead if you got it.
I will go back to what I said 2 weeks ago. Former President Trump, he's out on the campaign trail. He's giving people what they want. I think he has decided that he wants to be president again, and he's going to listen to his consultants, and he's going to be what we need.
Okay.
I didn't laugh as hard this time, Tiffany. That was really hard. Like, and I.
But you know what?
keep
I'm
having
going
to
to
remind
continue to
myself
say
that
it.
seriously.
And in November and mid-November, they can be like, "Damn, she was right. That's a conspiracy."
Well, Brad's a little hopped up on the sauce tonight, so he's a little mellow. So,
Yeah.
So Brad, what you got a conspiracy for me?
I have more of a correction, like admitting that I'm wrong to the audience.
We don't allow that on this show. You just roll with it.
Well, I'm the lone Democrat, so like we say we're wrong all the time. It doesn't matter.
Nobody's listening.
So I kept kind of pushing like Diego Morales. Is like where is he going or where has he been? Like why is our Secretary of State going abroad to all these places? And then somebody told me in the comments, I think it was like, oh, Guatemala and Taiwan. It was like bipartisan and whatever. And so I apologize for that. However, those were not the trips I was talking about at all. Initially, he went to CPAC in Hungary to talk like in May of 2023, along with like Harry Lake from Arizona. The Prime Minister of Hungary is Viktor Orban. He's this very right-wing-ish dictator kind of guy. He loves everything anti-woke and makes speeches about that, and then invites people to come to those conferences. And one of those people that came is our Secretary of State, Diego Morales.
God, he didn't stay.
Because I don't know what you could learn at those kind of
I
conferences.
think
Like,
Tiffany has a comment.
Would you
Tiffany,
wanna
do you have a
learn?
comment?
So I do have a comment. So, I too had questioned some of the travel, and somebody had said something to me that I thought was really profound. Number one, Indiana leads the way. So to have a statewide elected official who is not, he's not a white man conservative, that's a big deal. This is Secretary Morales. It is a big tent moment for the Republican Party, for the state of Indiana, and for the world to see that a person, a man with conservative values, who does not look like what people expect him to look like, who can stand on principle, get elected to a statewide role. And it's a big moment. It's a big moment for people to have him there. He's really shining a light on people who are interested in politics and who don't look like everybody else who's elected around them. So that was one of the things that I had to kind of take in and understand. It's a real big tent moment for the party, and it is something that people don't expect. So,
and it's also a plug for short people. I mean, yeah, we might as well say that. I mean, I can't help it, Diego. I love you like a little brother. A little brother. I mean, it's all good.
A little brother.
The guy's like half my size. It's terrible. I mean, it's scary. I mean, I go over and smother him. I mean, it's awful.
It's a big tent moment. So,
and it was there was a lot of firsts in that deal. So, Lucy, I'm saving the second best one for last tonight. I'm telling you, you're gonna have to dig deep in the Bill Gates
He always
taxation
does.
staff chest to beat my conspiracy theory. So go ahead.
Give it to him, Lucy.
Well, I'm sure that was Bill Gates' fault. And it was certainly in collusion with Klaus Schwab and all of the other elites. But I'm going to take this in a direction you probably would have anticipated. And that is, I want to call on all of us to stop drinking caffeine. The reason I want us to do this is because there are MRIs that have shown that caffeine reduces the oxygen to your brain by more than 50%. Like legit, this was
Jesus.
seen in an MRI on ABC, on one of the 60 Minutes type shows. 52% reduction in the amount of oxygen that gets to your brain. Well, if your brain is starved for oxygen, you're not making good decisions, which could lead you to becoming a Democrat. And so I want you all to stop drinking caffeine. And that is like
those Democrats are drinking the heck out of some caffeine.
the book. Get the book Caffeine Blues, and you'll really see, and obviously do a lot of research online. Andrew Huberman, he has really great videos on even why you shouldn't drink caffeine the first 90 minutes in the morning because of your adenosine. Pretty interesting science, but like in all reality, non-conspiracy theory, stop drinking the crap. It's killing us.
Oh, I stopped like 6 months ago. I must be twice as smart now.
Yeah.
Clearly you are.
I need all the oxygen I can get. All right, Lucy, that was pretty good. I mean, my mom, when she got clean from the prescription drugs back, when we were kids, she said when she got clean, it was like, Johnny, everything. Now you can't have any caffeine. You can't. Now I know why. So she was just looking out for me. She was looking out for me. So you ready for this conspiracy? Okay, this one goes back a ways, and and the only reason I'm going to tell you this story is because the statute of limitations is out. It's passed, and the other guy in this conspiracy, he's passed away. So it's only going to be me that suffers the consequences on this. But I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember this. Maybe who was born before 1984? Tiffany, maybe you 84 before 84.
I was.
You guys, okay, we got pretty much it. So in 1984, the Firecracker 400 down in Daytona Beach at the Daytona International Speedway. What was the first there? What was the first at that race? The first was a sitting president went to a NASCAR race. Now I bet you'll never guess who that president was. Who was that in 1984? Anybody want to take a guess?
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. That's right, he was. Now here's the controversy. Okay, they wanted to make it a big deal. So, Cale Yarborough was leading the thing. Now, first of all, when you got a sitting president at your big race here, you don't want a garden vegetable to win. You don't want somebody named Cale to win this daggone thing. You want to have somebody like, Richard Petty win it. So what happened mysteriously, this, Cale Yarborough was leading the thing, and he mysteriously had to go into the pits and Richard Petty, he won the race for it. Now this is where the conspiracy is. Now whenever I can put this picture out, I'm putting this picture out. That's me in 1979, and you can see me and Ronnie having a little conversation right there. Now this is 5 years before this race, and I was the mastermind behind this plot to get Cale Yarborough to come into the pits. So like I said, the statute of limitations are, we were drinking a little bit. Me and Ronnie had some scotch and talked about it. And Nancy was giving us a look like, hey, you got to cool it off here. Ronnie can't be getting drunk. So, but that was, that's how it went down. So we talked about it.
John, how tall are you, man?
About getting shot in 81 by
John. I want you to prove that's you in the picture. I mean, I think that's a conspiracy theory that you got some.
That is me in my disco suit. That's why
I'm not convinced that's you. I'm sorry.
That's because I
mean, I don't have another.
I can see the smile and the nose. I can see it.
That's a bad Photoshop.
He also said
exactly. It's like
Nancy's nose.
That is a Polaroid picture my mama took.
That's
God rest her soul. And
was that when your mama was still on prescription drugs?
Yeah, I think it was pretty much it. So he comes to our church. It's like the spring of '79 or whatever. We're not president. And I think we had the state party chairman went to our church. So it's funny. We had like 2 rows with Secret Service guys in there, and he shook everybody's hand on the way out, and they were all cool. And I got that famous picture. I think you all are jealous. So and plus I got the plot a Firecracker 400, race plot with him. So you guys think the NFL's rigged these days? Not NASCAR. It's all
Oh my
fake.
God.
Championship racing. So anyway, look at that. Right at 10 o'clock, we're done. Unbelievable, people. We've really shown our true colors tonight. So
Did Brad have a conspiracy theory?
yeah.
Oh no, it was
He
just a
was-
confession I was
He had a
wrong.
confession of fixing. He
Oh.
was fixing his. It's sort of like you were doing. So you guys, you're
Brandon?
trying to run me over now. You're
Oh,
trying to
oh.
run me over, and I'm
Because-
going to get this done at 10:01 now. 10:01. So everybody, everybody say bye. And if you want to come over to the next show, where can they catch that,
Hey,
Kristopher?
they can. Your producers put a link up somewhere in there. He should have it. You can find it on YouTube. Look at the political spotlight. The political spotlight will be on there just as soon as this wraps up. And I do want to tell everybody, if I can just quickly plug, we'll be tomorrow. I'm going to be on with Rob Kindle talking about this very same thing. And then on Thursday, Brando and I will be having Rainwater on. We've had him on multiple times, and he'll be on with us on Thursday. So check it out, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then sometime during the Kindle and Casey show tomorrow, we'll be talking about
All right,
13.
I got a
38.
challenge for you. I want you to, because Rob Kendall loves me. I mean, we're best buddies.
Right.
So I want you to stick my name in there on the show a little bit and see watch his face melt. I've been trying to get Micah Beckwith to do it, but he's chicken. You
Wait,
look
wait,
like you're.
Wait a minute. Since you guys are in the know, Brandon, Kristopher, and John, what's the word on the street after the debate with the 5 candidates, the 5 governor candidates last week? What was the word on the street?
They were saying that Curtis Hill was like the most charismatic, but I don't know. I mean, I think
I've heard that from lots and lots and lots and lots of people.
I'm going to see Brad Chambers tomorrow night. I'm going to go down to the tax man in Bargersville and drink his free drinks or whatever and talk to him, see what he's like. And then,
Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I haven't really been following, to be honest with you. I'm just thinking about Taxman now.
yeah, come on, let's go down. Let's go get thrown out of there. I'm game. All right, that's enough. You guys are running me way over. I'm playing the ending. We'll see you next week. We have John Schrock coming on. He's got some interesting news that happened to him. And then, hey, real quick, Tiffany, I just got a message from Dana Black. She is in for the Valentine special. So on February 13th, we're going to have a Valentine special. Tiffany, I don't know if you know this, but you're going to be hosting it. Lucy, you and Dana Black, and we're trying to get a relationship counselor on so that she can straighten out you women.
Okay. Hey, so I will be probably in the woods with Bigfoot. If possible, we might have to film on Monday.
Oh boy. There you go.
Yeah.
These persnickety actresses, it's just hard to work with.
Well,
So,
you
anyway,
don't pay me enough. You don't
say bye. Say bye. Say bye, everybody. Bye.
Hey, don't go anywhere. The guys are coming. They were in the Mouthwash is duck, and they're switching back over to here. So they should be here in just a minute. So just hang on. Don't go anywhere. They'll be right back. Yes, you're all being detained. Yeah, and nobody turn out the lights. I'll stay up here with y'all till the boys show up. Sorry you're stuck with me. I know it's just your favorite pastime listening to the crazy woman talk. So, yeah, he does tend to stick to the clock. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. Look, the boys are here.
We're here. Hey,
Woo!
look, we're all here. Let's go ahead and do this. Pop and pop. Hey, look, we're all here.
Well, that's my jam.
Yeah, it is. Yours specifically. Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is a little bit different because we're coming in live from the other show. Thank you to Kate, who's been holding the fort down here. I want to welcome, if we could, to the show. We've just been on his show.
Hi,
That's
guys.
producer Kate up there. Thank you, Kate. I want to welcome to the show here Mr. John. I'm going to mess your last name up. What's your last name?
It's Schmitz. You know, just it's Austrian. It's not the DT. It's the TZ. So there you go.
Schmitz. Okay. And
Yeah, don't blame me for all that Holocaust and junk. I was Austrian. I was like totally out of the thing. So
I gotta say, John runs a well-structured show. I like it.
Yeah, it really is. It's far more structured than this.
He's got the
we rolled out the
segments
red
and-
carpet for y'all tonight. But you know, we've been 3 years. We just had our 3rd year anniversary last week. So we 150 shows, 56.
Yeah.
But we do one a week. You guys probably
Yeah.
way past that on
Well,
shows. So.
We would if we wouldn't have rebranded in the middle of everything. We've had a couple rebrandings, but we've got hundreds of millions of shows, but it's all chopped up over several different formats. So we're here now. The political spotlight. I think it's good. I think it's great. Your show is a fantastic show. I've been watching it on and on for a while now. Love all of the guests and different people. You guys had on Dr. Catherine Callahan last week. I think you've had her.
She's feisty. She's feisty
Dude.
for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, yeah, she is just goes and goes and goes.
Well, this is going to be fun. Not having to push buttons. I appreciate Kate.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
You guys should appreciate Kate because on my show I have to put all the stuff up. Now you do have to admit if your viewers weren't watching my show, you got to
Yes.
admit that conspiracy theory was pretty good. I'm just saying.
Yes, that was pretty
That
good.
was- I just like, anytime I can flash the picture of me and Ronnie up there, I'm
Oh
gonna do it,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's like,
Matter of
That's a
fact,
cool
you can
picture.
shoot that to me, and I can definitely cut your head off and put mine on it. That would be fun.
I see this AI stuff, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
see what you're doing there.
How
I
tall
love
are
it.
you?
Yeah.
Well, see that I'm 6'3", but it's deceiving because we had out there like some a planter bed of rocks or whatever. So he's 6 foot tall, so he should have
Yeah.
only been 3 inches taller. But I freaking looked like I was like Bill Walton up
Like
in there. I was
towering
like,
over
getting
him.
ready- Yeah, and then Nancy looked sort of tall too. But yeah, so they had him up against the wall. The Secret Service guys, even back then. But they didn't do a good job in '81 when he got shot up. But there she was good.
Yeah,
It was
right.
all good. So, but yeah, it was cool. I mean, I didn't even, I'm like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Who's this clown? And
Yeah.
but now it's a good picture to have. So, but anyway.
So, obviously everybody's here. Everybody watched the other show. What, you ask us on your program, so we might as well start out with you. What got you involved in this? I think the first time I ran into you was at the Liberty Defense thing up north. Where were we, Brandon? I was only there because you were there.
Oh, was that the one in Fort Wayne?
Yeah, it might have been Fort Wayne.
Yeah, it was Liberty
Banquet?
Defense.
Yeah.
Liberty Defense. That's when there was a lot of candidates there, and I was actually running for Indiana House, so I got to get up there and say how bad I was going to lose. I mean, I was going to try to win, and all that. Well, to answer your question, I'm glad you asked. So, I actually tried to run for mayor in Indianapolis back in 19. And I had never been in politics. I had trouble with the city writing me permits, and I just said, "Hey, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to do something."
Yep.
So I decided to start running. Well, I didn't get the warmest welcome in the Republican Party.
No way.
You all may know what I'm talking about. So I sort of saw the writing on the wall that Jim Merritt was their guy. So I decide I'm just going to run as an independent. So I get all these things. I get like 8,700 signatures. They threw out just enough to keep me off the ballot. We tried to sue him in the federal court. The judge says, you guys are awful. You kept terrible records, but he's off the ballot. So I'm like, okay. And in that meantime, they said, if you ever sue anybody, we'll put you on the media. That was their excuse when I was running before. You got to sue somebody. You got to get, some story here for us. And it never happened. So I thought, I'll just start my own daggone media. Streaming was getting popular back then. So started a show called Your Voice, Your Call. And it was, I had picked up a guy, Chris Moore, who is still doing that show on Patriot Soapbox. We were doing that show together. And then I decided that I'm going to do a different show. So I started Do Something Indie, which is a positive show, it covers positive things going on in and around central Indiana. We've had the Baby Box on there. We've had Lisa Zanako on there that claims babies that don't have anybody to claim them and gives them a decent burial. We've had all sorts of people that do things positively, but I didn't want to do the political in there. So I started thinking, well, what could I call this show? And it's like pretty much everything's, you probably know, trying to make your name up. A lot of stuff is taken. I got down to mouthwash. I started talking about mouthwash. Okay, it's not taken. So I did that. I decided to start at mouthwash, and then I conned a couple other people into helping me. And then the logo back there, that's Gary Varvel. Gary Varvel's work. I know it probably looks familiar. Oh, yeah. He's been on our show, and so we just sort of pieced it together. And I really like the panel we have now. We've had a few, people change. But as I said on our show, I don't know how you could sit and talk, just about stuff. And I'm a pretty good talker, but I don't, it's just good to have other people on the show to do that, or even your imaginary friend about the rabbits would be good too. But so that's how I got to this point, and we just kept doing it, and it's gotten more popular. Adam Harvey, he's been with this thing from day one, and we had a Hamilton Southeastern liberal teacher for the first 8 shows, and she was too fragile. she couldn't do it. She had her friends call us, you need a so she went on her, she had to go away. She couldn't take it, but she was good. I liked having her on the show. Adam and her would go at it, but that's okay. I mean, it's like he's probably about as far right as she is to the other side. But so, like I said, you just sort of experiment with things till stuff starts working out.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we did was we wanted to have audience participation, and we wanted to have everybody's voice be heard. Yeah. And so I did catch, if you've seen the, Cassie Jackson shows we did, I caught some crap from people about that. And but this is our, you could say what you are, but applying it sometimes is hard. And I imagine you guys are probably, sort of in a, you're come from a right leaning part of this thing. So you don't have that issue of saying that you're this and trying to prove it. It's messy. Sometimes it's painful, but sometimes it works. So there you go. That was my long answer.
Sorry. Well, no, that's great. I tell you, Catherine Callahan was on for me, filling in for a show. Brandon couldn't do it, and I had something come up, and she was on for like 20 minutes, and she's like, man, I don't know. She's been on as a guest multiple times. She's like, but I don't know how Kristopher does this. And I'm like, girl, you talk. You're the only person I know that talks more than I do. What do you mean? You've got this. But she did easy. She did a fantastic job. My thing is, I would be talking if I was in a room by myself. Nobody was watching. So I figured, to hell with it. I might as well put a mic on and show some people. Maybe they'll like it. Maybe they won't. But I mean, I was talking no matter what. So might as well do it for people. I like, there's the pros and cons. I don't consider myself a journalist. I consider myself what we do here to be more political commentary. So I consider myself a political commentator. And so I don't, I try to always be factual, but I've been doing the broadcasting since 2016, but been involved with politics since I was like a little kid. I memean, I was involved with campaigns, walking door to door when I was 9, 10 years old, and was grown up in it. And so, you know, I've always been political, but I try to use my lived experience to explain people, you know, what's going on, and we try to focus on things, and we get people asking for help, you know, from different areas on this or that, and so that's kind of what it is. But I like what you guys, do with the back and forth, and I tell you, I loved the back and forth with Tiffany. I'd like to have her on sometime. I'd like to just argue with her more, because we don't have a lot of people on that. Like, I would like to get in and have some actual arguments. I loved her. I hope we wish you had more time, and I want to connect with her off the show, because
we get some arguments going.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had a Lutheran pastor that I had to mute 3 times, and he you know, Lucy got into it with him, and I'm like, but other than that, it's, you know, and Cassie sort of self-muted herself.
Oh, well, yeah.
so you'll have that, but yeah, and I think that, you know, the feedback that I get is that, you know, there's not a lot of shows that are like this. And, you know, our guests, all except for Mark Powell that came on, the Lutheran pastor, they love coming on. Like, we've had Mike Braun and Curtis Hill, and we've had all sorts of Dan Stott. We've had all sorts of people come on, and they love being on because it's not a 20-second clip. It's, you know, it's a real conversation. Now, we did have Jefferson Shreve on, who ran for mayor on the primary, and he was coming from an event, sitting in his car, relaxed, leaning back, did a great interview with us. I mean, a great interview. Lucy asked him the question, though, are you going to do anything that's going to infringe on our rights? And he said, perfect thing is like, I'm not going to do anything that's ever going to infringe on your rights. And then he comes out about 2 or 3 months later and says, we're going to take your guns away. And I was like, so the Democrats take our show clip and they run it in a commercial. So, I mean, but hey, that's not my fault. But and we sort of joke around about the tinfoil hat part of it is if you're running for office, you may not want to be seen on the tinfoil hat, because, I mean, they'll take stuff out of context and all that. I give up caring a long time ago. I'm crazy, and I wear it as a badge of courage.
What's funny is I used to have one up here, and I was looking for it, and I get your tinfoil hat. I was like, well, I got one.
I had one too.
I couldn't find it.
Yeah, no, we threw this show together pretty quickly, and like I said, my internet was out of existence, so I didn't have. Usually, I do a show preview Sunday morning before church. That wasn't happening, so it's always a little bit of a scramble. I mean, you know, we do these shows. It's a labor of love. It's not really something that, you know, I'm raking in royalty checks and all that. It's like I've got a studio above my garage with the wall painted green. It's awesome. But think about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, anybody can do these things, and you know, so it is. You have to stand out. You have to be entertaining to survive, because there's a ton of them out there, and we love our live viewers. We probably have a core group of about 40 that are regulars, and usually 20 will be on of those 40. And then we get a lot of after views. A lot of people listen as a podcast because of my beautiful face, I'm sure. So, you know, and we just keep doing it. We just keep getting more people following and more people liking it. So, but there's plenty to cover. I mean, you know,
absolutely,
plenty to cover. And I don't think a lot of people cover the local. I mean, think about it. Gannett, and they bought all the local newspapers, and the news doesn't really cover local stuff anymore. And the national news, it's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And you'll see a lot of bias in the newspaper, especially like, well, during our elections, you'd see they conveniently not do certain articles if they thought they'd hurt their preferred candidate and things like that. I mean, I'm not trying to impugn the reputations of some of these newspapers.
Star News.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry, I just had something there.
I mean, you'd hope that they just be objective, right? That's the whole point. You're just supposed to tell people what happened. And when you selectively forget to tell people about certain things, or you hyper focus on other things, it's not really that objective, in my opinion.
The days of Walter Cronkite are gone. They are behind us. We don't have Walter Cronkite anymore.
Absolutely. That is very true.
Kate, were you trying to get me to answer the Stephen Whitmer question? Is that what you're doing?
No, I think. Oh, yeah.
Well, he wants to know, because we get blocked by people, and we have Jesse Brown. He's a Democrat socialist here that's been elected to the city county council, and I think his job is Twitter. But now let me give you a little background about my friend Steve Whitmer. You meet him in person, he's a mild-mannered reporter, but he gets on Twitter, he turns into Jekyll. I mean, he will flat get it. I'll give you a good example. So we have Wilburn, Senator Wilburn. She was writing a bill or supporting a bill about public education, and he made a comment about, well, hey, Senator Wilburn, you send your kids to private school. Well, you wouldn't think that'd be a big deal. Well, that got blown up into he was stalking her kids, exposing where they go to school, blah, 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 blah. Capitol Police get called. Problem was, they thought it was me. So now this comes from, and I know exactly where it comes from. So I'm on the Twitter, and there was a handle called Krispy Kreme, just like the donut. Yeah. I made the comment, oh, look, a talking donut. And boy, you would have thought I was calling them a name. So they start, the other Twitter mob goes crazy. Yeah, you're making fun of this person. Well, their name's a donut, and they're talking. So they're talking donut. So somehow they get that mixed up that I'm now a bully on Twitter because I made fun of a talking donut.
Oh, my God.
So this is Destiny Wells, and she starts spreading all this. I'm a victim. So Steve gets Andrea Hunley, Senator Hunley, involved in it. So they're spreading the rumor about how I'm this bad guy on Twitter. So they just assumed that I was the person that said something to Senator Walburn. And so the Capitol Police call me, and I'm like, hello? Oh, this is the Capitol Police. We want to know if you're harassing the senator and all that. I was like, what are you talking about? So they finally figured out that it wasn't me. They took me out of the cuffs in the back of the car. No, I didn't cuff me. They just called me. And then they proceeded to call Steve up and give him the same thing. And he told him what happened. But they had blown this thing out of proportion to the point where, it's sort of like this bill, this 1338 you're talking about. They act like that they're threatened by this and that we need some kind of protection of our space or whatever. And it just was sort of sad. And, the good thing is Senator Wilburn, she called me and apologized about it. And I thought that was a class act. I thought that was very classy. Now, still waiting on that phone call from Destiny Wells. I don't think
I'm sure you're not going to get that.
Not going to get that one. So yeah, she's special.
That's hilarious. We had a couple questions here real quick, and your producer asked, number one, I just want to answer his question. The first campaign I ever worked on was a re-election campaign in probably the late 80s for Gary Carmichael for sheriff in Delaware County. That was a local race. Probably one of the most memorable interviews I've done was with Vermin Supreme.
I knew that was your answer.
Had Vermin Supreme on Perception is Reality. It was fantastic. I thought I was only going to get him for like 30 minutes, and he was like, no, we've got 2 hours. Let's go. And I was like, all right, rock and roll. Yeah,
he's worth like $7 million.
Oh, yeah.
His net worth. He's
really?
He's playing the long game on this.
So. Oh, absolutely. I'm telling you, he's a genius. Absolute genius. I mean, and I like it because he's like just kind of taking the piss. He knows what he's doing, and it's comical, and it's such a statement on the joke that is politics. I just love everything about it. But then the other question was, I think the guy, which I can answer the same thing, but throw it to you real quick, Brandon. He asked about the JD lawsuit.
So
Steve,
it probably cost me a couple bucks. The question is, how much of the lawsuit cost JD Prescott? So when he blocked me, so let me be clear. It was on Facebook. He was actually in session in the House, posting, talking about what they were working on, answering other constituents' questions on things. He didn't like my question because I asked him about why he had voted against tax breaks for disabled veterans if he's a so-called conservative Republican. I didn't say it that way. I just asked him why he voted against it. He blocked me. I informed him that he can't do that, that he needs to unblock me or I'm going to seek legal counsel. He's like, who cares? So I say it cost me a couple bucks because I wrote letters to like everyone and anyone. I wrote letter to my congressman, to my state senators, to the attorney general, to Todd Houston, to basically everybody saying, hey, this isn't right. You guys need to talk to him. Filed complaints with whoever I could. One of the complaints was through the ACLU. They were the only ones who really got back to me. That's not true. A senator got back to me and his staff was like, we can't give legal advice, but we will tell you that generally, if an attorney gets involved, you will see results. So they weren't giving me legal advice. So ACLU picked it up free of charge. It ended up being a settlement because it was a forced settlement. I wanted it to go to court. But JD said, I'm going to delete my Facebook page no matter what. So if he deletes the page, it's moot. There's no page to unblock me on. All I was suing for was to be unblocked, by the way.
Yeah.
And to unblock anyone else who was blocked. So the settlement was that he delete the page. And in the future, if he create a Facebook page, he needs to make it very clear that it is not a legislative page and that he not block people on said page if he's doing the work of a legislator, because you can't do that. So long answer to your short question, it didn't really cost me anything, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm currently in a First Amendment rights federal lawsuit with the sheriff of Henry County for the exact same thing. And he basically, what he did is there was a massive issue going on and I was down. I filmed a city council meeting and we put it on our program, and the sheriff took my video. He cropped out the beginning. He cropped out the end. He cropped out anything that had our logo or any kind of credit to us. He used then a snippet of that video that kind of bolstered his point, but that's not truthfully what was happening. And so, and he posted that on his official wall. And I commented and said, hey, love that you're sharing our work. I'm glad you're a fan. I cannot stand this guy. He's horrible. The people of Henry County need to get rid of him as soon as possible. He is done. They're losing their insurance as a county because of him down there. It's a horrible disaster. It's a nightmare. And no one can stand him. They're stuck with him for a couple more years now, and it's a disaster. He only had been in law enforcement for 4 years before he was elected to the sheriff's office. He has no idea what he's doing. It's a nut. I'm a former police officer, and so I take really serious what he's doing. It's insane. And yeah, here he is, Sproul's watch.
I don't know why he would not like that. That's a perfectly good picture.
Yeah, it looks wonderful.
He's going to get some votes.
Yeah.
He's going to get some votes just with the rainbow. I mean,
just right now. Yes, right. That's what I thought.
You guys are helping him out.
Well, and so all I did is I said, hey, I'm glad you're a fan. I just ask that you either do one of two things. Either credit us, put the video back crediting us or putting it back how it was, or take it down, one of those two things. He deleted my comment, left the video up, and then blocked me from the page. And I thought, well, that's not good. So I picked up the phone and said, Ace, because I'm not a big ACLU fan, but I know that they were beneficial in his situation. And I happen to know the attorney that he worked with. I'd worked with him in another situation. And I picked up the phone and said, hello, ACLU attorney. I need your help. And they're doing it. And again, they're doing it. It's on them. It's not cost me any money yet. And I'm not seeking specifically any money other than what the attorney's saying that we need to do. I want to be unblocked on Facebook, and I want him to unblock everyone else that he's blocked. That's all.
Well, just mention my name down there, and that'll end everything that you'll be asked to leave. So do you think that we've got a lot of people quitting? I think we have 3 or 4 U.S. reps here, and we've got a lot of. Yeah. Do you think they've had enough? My thing is like, and you have to block some people sometime. I mean, there's some people that, I have had people accusing me of being pedophile and, come on, at some point.
You're a private citizen.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Oh.
block away anyone
You
you
can
wanna
block me, block
Yeah.
Christopher, block Brandon, block everyone.
Okay,
You
well,
just have your own little club
hold
to
on. Let me get
yourself.
on there.
You bet. Yeah.
You're a private citizen.
Oh, I'm blocked.
Yeah,
Well-
sorry. Yeah. Well, I know, but to me, I'm like, if you're in a public eye, you need to deal with these people. I mean, I just don't get it. I mean,
That's
really
one
don't.
of the
Well, here's
ahead,
the
Brandon.
strategy, though, John, is if you're a public official and someone's being vastly inappropriate, you don't need to block them. You just report them to Facebook and let Facebook do it.
Yeah.
And then Facebook says they
the mob will
violated the
take them
term.
down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, honestly, like
I
if they're
mean-
like threatening you, that's against Facebook's terms, and they'll pull them down. And what are they gonna do? See, you violate Facebook's terms, they pull you down, not me.
Right. That's what Facebook does is Facebook. And that's what I was trying to, I wanted to convey to Tiffany I wasn't trying to be argumentative because I understand. And I want to go on record. What she was talking about is wild. Anybody that was coming on her property, shame on them. They should be prosecuted to the heaviest, fullest extent of the law for the crimes that they broke. That is not okay. I'm not somebody that's going to go outside of an elected official's property. I always tell people, to call your representatives. And then I always throw in, do it Monday through Saturday from 9 to 6. Don't call after 6 p.m. Don't call before, I'm very respectful in my, rah, 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 First Amendment. I'm not going to go above and beyond what I would want someone to do to me, so I'm not trying to be crazy. I don't want people to take stuff outside of a city council meeting. I don't want people to take stuff off of the floor of the state house or whatever. That is insane. And the thing we say is there's already laws in place for stuff like that. So if someone is following you, make police report. Maybe the police report first one you make is not going to get it done, but make 2 or 3 of them. Then you can file for protective order. If someone's coming to your house, have them trespassed. If they come there again, you can have them arrested. There are things that you can do that are already in the law. And if someone is being violent or being crazy, I've got no problem with that. Crossing the line, there are laws on the books already for that. So I'm all for that. And I hate anything and everything she was going through as far as that goes.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things that I respect.
It was crazy. I mean, I went up there at the peak of it.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Cassie and all these people because I wanted to see this for myself.
Right.
And honestly, there was enough blame to go around the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Tiffany was just in there for the ride. Actually, it was the president and that Ray. They really let things get out of goofy. I would call if I made a law, I would call it the cast me outside. It's like, hey, let's go take it out in the parking lot. If whoever's standing left over, that's got it done. So eliminate half the problem like that.
I'll tell you, one of the things that a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Rob Kendall, but one of the reasons I respect him is because when he was elected to his council seat in that 4-year term, he said, look, I'm getting paid tax dollars to be here. I'm here twice a month, and I'm going to let you come up here and say anything that you want to say to me. You can call me any name in the book. That's what I'm here for. And I'm like, all right, I can respect that. You just recently had John Rust on your show a couple weeks back, right?
Yeah,
We're gonna have John Rust on here in a couple weeks, and that's one of the things that he said when I was talking to him. He said, "You can ask me anything. And I'm sure he said the same thing to you. I'm an open book. Nothing is off the table. I feel like if I'm running for office, I should be able to take it." And I tell you, we don't get a whole lot of people who say that when we're calling. They're like, wait a minute, are you recording me now? We can't ask this, don't ask this. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. If you're running for office, it's on the table. If you don't want to answer it, you shouldn't be running for office. I always say people are going to govern like they campaign. If you have a shitty candidate, chances are they're not going to become this amazing elected official. You know what I mean? And so it just kind of goes.
When we had Mike Braun on, it was recorded, and I was supposed to have him on at 5, but it was when that first omnibus bill was going through.
Oh yeah,
and they were still there, and then they went back after that. So we came and he did the interview, but I had to edit it. I had to send it to them, and then they had to prove it. Well, they had made me take out anything with the January 6th on. So I had to take that. And I did. I don't do
Right.
any gotcha stuff. I mean, you don't want to get a
Sure.
reputation of that type of thing.
Yeah.
So, we were talking about, you're going on Rob Kendall. I'll buy you some real good coffee if you slip my name in or ask him about the Mouthwash Show. His head will explode. I mean, it will, and Casey will start laughing. I'm sure of it. But we did have Rob come down and speak at our tax rally down at the State House this weekend, and he said to the group, I was on the planning committee and I'm one of the organizers, and he said, Schmitz is going to let me come on. Come on, I give me a break. I'm pretty nice guy, really.
Right.
Make me mad. Then it's catch me outside, and I have to have a bill written about the John Schmitz bill. It's like they're gonna have bills written after me on this. But yeah, so it's interesting to how they'll dodge or bucket. But we had John Rust on the show twice.
Yeah.
And the first time we had him on, he had a deposition the next day for his court case.
Yeah.
Guess what showed up in the deposition? Our show.
That's crazy.
I kid you not, because he talked about
Dang,
how
they
he
were on
didn't vote, and and so somebody's watching you all the time.
Oh yeah. Yes.
It's like, and some people were calling me squeaky clean and stuff. And my wife, when we ran for office, somebody said, "Well, quit having people call you squeaky clean." I can't tell people what to call me. They don't know me that well. I'm not very squeaky and I'm not very clean. So, and you put them together, I'm definitely not that. So, I don't know. It's just sort of weird how things go. But I felt like when I started running for office that I was a saint compared to some of these other people.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of some of the stuff they've done. I'm like, dang, how did that donkey survive that story? I don't want to know. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff. So I feel like I've lived a sheltered life in some ways. But
Right.
of course, my wife is from Arkansas, and her high school was where Footloose was basically based on.
God.
So she grew up like, strict Southern Baptist type of atmosphere. So I really felt like she really was naive. She's learned. I mean, I've taught her some lessons and things. So, she's good now. She's a city girl. So it's all good.
What were you gonna say?
I've got a question on another bill I meant to bring up earlier. Did you see that we had a bill that made it through committee to do term limits for the federal will be the Congress and U.S.
It was a resolution. It was a joint House resolution, wasn't it?
I believe so, but it made it through. I don't see it going through. I know JD Prescott voted against it. What are your thoughts on these term limits?
Well, I signed it when I ran for House. There's Rachel, I can't remember her last name. She was calling around to get people to sign a term limit thing, and I'm like, I'm all for it. I got ADHD. I can't stay anywhere for 40 minutes, let alone 4 years. So it's like, come on, I'm ready to go. You don't got. I'll take less than term limits. I just want to win something someday. But that.
Just give me a minute.
Yeah, well, and I think that, honestly, I think what we're seeing here is an exodus of some of these people that have been in for a while, and now they're starting to have to work.
Yeah.
I think once you get elected, I'll give you an example. We have Andre Carson down here in the 7th. Lucky me. I'm 2 blocks away from having somebody else, but I got him.
Oh, man.
And I've been going back and forth with his press secretary, which he's had for 14 years. And I'm telling you, if you're in a game of dodgeball with her, you will never hit her, not even with a wrench. I mean, it's bad. So I'm trying to get this information about the floodplain from my poor neighbors here in Mars Hill are in this floodplain. And if you have a mortgage, you have to have mortgage. You have to have flood insurance. This is an underserved neighborhood of blue-collar people that are working to scratch things together to put food on the table. They don't need to be paying $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 for flood insurance for basically something that the FEMA has drawn a map to make it into the floodplain. It's theft. I'm going to use Lucy's word. Taxation is theft. Insurance is theft in this idea. And I had to sign a form, a non-disclosure form, and a bunch of other stuff to get this information. And then they never gave me the information. I just got an email back from the other day, just a slow drag out of this. How we haven't heard anything else lately. And it's like, it's just trying to drive me crazy. So, but if you got enough insulation, you don't have to answer anybody. And
Yep.
you can just block them on the social media. You don't even have to answer that. So
There you go. Yeah.
that's how
That's
it
my
goes.
problem.
Yeah, yeah. So
Did you have something else, Brandon?
No, I was just gonna say that's kind of an overarching theme. It seems like lately with the IGA is insulating themselves and trying to do everything they can to. It's a lot about making their jobs easier, and it's like if you think your job's too hard, you cannot do it.
right, yeah, it's these elections become a popularity contest and not really a merit contest of who could do the work. One of the bills that Senate Bill 50, and that is the one where they want to put a chaplain in some of these schools. And yeah, so I'll give you a new topic to talk about. This one just comes sort of on our radar here. And of course, it's the same people that think we should have porn in our schools that are against this. And I'm like, wait a second, is this totally wrong? It's like, it's okay if we have sexually explicit material in our teens' hands, but by God, you talk to a chaplain, well, heads are going to roll. And I'm like, we got chaplains on about everything. The military,
Yeah.
we got it on the football teams. I'm good friends with Ken Johnson, ex-chaplain of the Colts for 30 years. We got chaplains in the hospital and all this. And I think they're worried that their kid's going to pick up on some of these good religious values. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, that love your neighbor thing, can't have it. We just don't need it. The social media shut down if everybody got along.
Right.
So just think about the ramifications if people started applying some of the principles of some of these peaceful religions, not that jihad kind of religion, but the peaceful ones. So, and I think that's one of their arguments too. It's like, well, what religion are you going to teach kids?
Right.
So that's one that's come up, that House Bill 50. But they can push through so many bills because each legislator gets 5 bills, and it was 10. 2 years ago. So it's whatever rules they make up. I think that we should have a rule: you get 3 bills, and one of those bills has to fix something else. You only get 2 new ones and fix one.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be good.
And another self-serving thing, it's an election year. They want to spend more time on the campaign trail. So they go, let's just do 5. Let's rush everything through, get done, and get to campaigning. That's what that's all about.
Some odd ones. They even came out of the gate and said, well, we're not going to do a lot of stuff. It's sort of like whatever they say, it's the opposite. It's like George Carlin at the club and you ain't in it. And whatever they say, it's the opposite.
That's absolutely.
So you see some of this stuff that's getting snuck through there. And, my representative, which, full disclosure, I've run against him twice and lost horribly, but he's been there 10 years and he has authored 1 bill. And guess what? The 5 that he has this year, they're not even going to make it out of committee. So it's like, what in the world? It's a Democrat and a Republican supermajority. And you would think that voters would be smart enough to vote for a Republican that's going to do your bidding for you.
Right.
Instead of somebody that's going to do nothing but send you a birthday card on your birthday.
Well, you're lucky if you get that, honestly.
And in the meantime, the taxpayers are paying a huge salary and benefits for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and another thing is they get two mailers on an election year paid for, that's garbage. I mean, that is garbage. They get 2 mailers. They'll get 2 mailings that they can do, and they can put whatever they want in there.
I've got conspiracy theory.
Oh, now you got one. Okay. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Okay.
So the group that does those mailers, I believe, let's put on my legal cap on top of my tinfoil cap, is the same group that does all their campaign mailers.
Oh, yeah.
So that group gets a sweet deal on the taxpayer dollar to print those mailers for really expensive. This is just a conspiracy theory. Then when it comes election time for the incumbents, they print them for dirt cheap. And then I know for a fact that if you're not an incumbent and you ask that company to print your mailers, they will tell you no, they only print mailers for incumbents.
Wow, you're starting to be a conspiracy fact.
No, I was saying that's a fact. That the last part there he said was a fact.
The other part's conspiracy theory because I haven't looked into it.
Yeah,
I can't prove that.
They will not do it unless you are an incumbent. And so working back from there, it only makes sense what he's saying hypothetically that would make sense.
So one of your viewers asked, is chaplain would be considered Christian? No, I think the chaplain would be, there it is, that one is it's a vague term. Does it mean Christian? But no, in this bill, it just means chaplain. And part of it is you have to give them a secular answer unless you get approval to go to that next level. Now, back in the day when I was in school, we had a little trailer that was off of the property, like just right on the property line, and we would go out there for our weekly religious education. And I'm always like wondering what my parents were indoctrinating me into the religion, and I'm like, I'm still a little bit mad about that. I think I'd have got there on my own, but I felt like I was being pushed a little bit.
Right.
But we did get to go specially off the campus to go in this little trailer, which when we did the religious stuff, and I don't know if it sunk in or not. I just never figured it out. It's like one of those things where you just go because they told me to go. My parents didn't talk to me. They just signed me up. Sign him up, Johnny. Go out there to the trailer. And indoctrinate you into the religion. So, but yeah, so I think people get worried about, I think people are really worried about what their kids are being taught. And I tell you, COVID sort of pulled back the curtain on what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
It really has opened some people's eyes. And, I think that would be pretty much the library in some of these schools with, what's being taught. It's not, it ain't what we used to be taught in school. It's a little different now. So.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for a while. I don't want to hold you all night. I imagine you're going to have to wind her down. But before we roll out of here, is there, anything that we've got said? I do want you to tell everybody you're on. Where can people find the Mouthwash show?
Yeah, we're on same time you on Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock live, and we're on Mouthwash Talks 1 Twitter. You can watch on there. Most people watch on Facebook, Mouthwash page. And hey, click on there and like it. I've subscribed to yours to get your subscription numbers up there. We're pushing towards 2,000 followers. I think we're on 1978, so we need a few more followers. And just tune in. And what I'll usually do a little preview show during the week to tell you who's coming on. But we have some some pretty cool stuff coming on, and I love doing this extra stuff. It's fun being a guest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As a host on my show, I don't have to give my opinion. I feel like it's sort of like Teflon. It's like I'll let these other people get in trouble for that stuff. So
right,
it's sort of like when your grandkids come over, you send them home with firecrackers and a drum. Right. So
right.
This has been fun. I don't have to push
good.
buttons or anything, but yeah. So we appreciate it, and
yeah. I do want to say we mentioned one of your on the show earlier. One of the comments came up was from Councilman Ryan Webb from Delaware County, and I just got a message from him. He said, "Love the Mouthwash guys, so I might need to get you guys in contact. He might be an interesting guest."
We've had him on the guest.
He has been on before.
Yeah, when all that was going down. You guys are late to the party here. We've had we had all sorts of people on here. It's funny because
I love it.
We don't plan that. You obviously were backstage before the show. No planning goes into this. We have been so fortunate on our timing with things. I mean, we've hit things with the abortion thing. We had an abortion show the day they were talking about, and it was just dumb luck. I mean, people probably think, well, they're back there plotting their next show, planning and all this. It's like, no, it just happens. So, but we've been fortunate on a lot of things, getting, having Jefferson Shreve on and then having that commercial go on the Democrats. I actually got on Hammer and Nigel's show for that. So, they wanted to find out, what was up with that. And so sometimes it's good, sometimes it's good, sometimes not so good. But so I'll listen. So you're going to be on, what time yet tomorrow?
We're recording at 8:15. They go on at 9. He'll tell me.
You're not going to be on live?
Yeah, no, I've been down there. I was on Tony Katz back in August of 2019. We did it live, but basically we've been on in some form or another 3 or 4 or 5 times now with either Kendall or Kendall and Casey over the last maybe a year and a half.
So
for
if you're
various
getting
reasons.
recorded, you're getting recorded. If you even say my name, that is chopped. I know whenever I was out when I was running for mayor and stuff, Channel 13, they'd come out and I was helping homeless people, whatever. And they would interview me. They'd say, "Oh, interview this guy. He helps us a bunch. Interview this guy." They'd interview me, and I'm like, "This ain't never going to see the light of day." I joke around about there's more edited film on the floor at Channel 13 than carpet of me being edited out. And so they never. I mean, it's just like, and that's you asked that first question about why'd you start your own. I mean, that's a perfect example of why you it just seems like they can silence you. What's ignoring somebody is the biggest form of putting them down is ignoring them.
Yeah,
and that's that works.
Absolutely.
So, but
I'll take my ball and go home and do it myself.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, but there's a lot of people doing it these days.
Absolutely.
As we say, to make it interesting, but we're going to keep on doing it as long as we can. And it's sort of fun. But the problem is on my show is it starts at 9. Now you guys go till this is what, almost 11.
Almost 11.
By the time we wind ours down with the backstage and everything, it's about 11. Well, I teach spin class at 5 in the morning tomorrow.
Oh,
so it's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. See,
I'm elderly. I need like 2 naps on Wednesdays. But,
right.
It's tough.
Yeah. So's Brandon. I think I'm like, how old are you? I think I might be like 6 months older than Brandon, or maybe he's 6 months older than me. But yeah, he needs to
turn 41.
How many?
Yeah, 41.
I'm about to be 41.
41?
I
was still running marathons when I was 41, winning bike races when I was 50. Now it's
He's
60.
training for it right now.
What are you running?
I went to the gym right before where it came on the show.
Yeah, you young. You
kids. Me too.
Are you going to do the mini marathon or anything?
You know what? I've been wanting to do a marathon, but I need to get in shape.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
I did the New York Marathon in like 3 hours. It was fun. I ran with Lance Armstrong. Ran it. Yeah. So.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was
a huge
fun.
marathon.
It was 40,000 of my closest friends, and it was when the dollar was low. So there's a lot of foreigners. I ran with a bunch of French people. And they were rude. Don't let them think that they're nice. They were rude. Right. What is he doing? He's running over here. Get the over there. Flip him up. Yeah, they were nice. I finally had to ditch them. But it was cold and it was a lot. It was just an ordeal, but it was fun. I could say I ran the New York Marathon, so that was good. So,
Adam's got it right. Is there a bar in Muncie called the Gym? Right?
No, we got the Chug. We had the Chug.
Yeah.
The Chug.
That's the one.
Chug. Absolutely.
It was the Mugglies. We had Mugglies. That was a good one. Mugglies. And then we had the patio. I think there's a patio. They would give you a beer in a pot.
Yeah, so patio's no longer there. Everybody, that's
it's a Mexican restaurant. Yeah, so I went to Ball State. Ball State. Ran
when did you graduate? What time period?
85. I graduated 85.
Okay.
So
I
was there in the good old days. When
yeah.
It was
fun.
Yeah.
In the good old days.
Yeah. So it was all good.
That I always want to leave off when people ask me who was the first political race, because it's Gary Carmichael. That's not nearly as fun as the second one. The second one was Scott A-Hole. His name is
Scott
Hole. His middle initial is A, and that's who he was Delaware County clerk for a couple of years. And
Muncie was corrupt way back then. Even I mean, it
still is.
Well, I mean, I think Ridenour got elected there, and he's cleaned up a little bit, didn't he? Oh no, maybe not.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to you another day about that one.
Okay, yeah, we don't want you getting thrown out of Muncie.
It's like 90% of Christopher's content.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Yeah, it's just another day in paradise.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it's great. I mean, I'd never heard of your show even till last week, and you guys are making some difference because viewers were suggesting, hey, you guys got to get together, and you've been most gracious and contacted you right away, easy to get along with. And that makes life a lot easier when people cooperate on these things. Because as you know, it's tough putting together a live show and making it happen. You're fortunate to have Kate back there running the things seamlessly. So I need to rent her from you guys.
Yes. Yes.
It's very expensive.
Yes, she
Yeah, I
is.
know.
I don't know that you
Yeah.
can afford her, but
I
maybe.
think she could beat up both of you guys at the same time.
Oh,
Not even
for
one of-
sure.
Could. Yes.
Not even. Yeah. So
Yeah,
there
no,
you go.
no, not even close.
Guaranteed.
Well, John, thank you for coming on. You're always welcome
thank
here as
you.
always, and have to do some more work in the future and see what we can do. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, no
Thanks for
problem. If
having
you
us on.
ever need any insignificant trivia that nobody wants to know about, I'm your guy. So you
All
just
right,
go
I love
look
it.
me up. So,
Yeah, thank you very much.
all right.
Ha-
All right.
Have a good
Thanks.
evening.
All right. See you.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to do it for us. Brando, you got anything else big? Any big news?
That was fun and different.
It was.
Any big news? No, not particularly.
You didn't get anything? Man, okay. I'm just going to tell you, you need to be looking in your mail. I'm really disappointed.
In my literal mail?
In your mail, in your delivery hole. You will be getting a special delivery in your delivery hole. Should have been today. I'm disappointed. I thought for sure when you were calling me, that's why you were calling me, but it wasn't.
Oh, God. Did I get a mailer that's going to make me angry?
Not a mailer. No.
Oh, okay.
Nope. I don't know. I can't say any more than that, but just as soon as you get something in your delivery hole, please get a hold of me as soon as possible.
Oh, God. Am I going to be angry?
Oh, no, it's not angry at all. You're
Oh,
not getting sued, I promise.
Oh, I'm not worried about that.
No. I'm just saying, no, it'll be good. I'm really bad at secrets. So,
Okay.
it is what it is, but that's all I can say. I can say no more.
Little buckaroo looks like Stumblefoot busts my balls so much, but it always amuses me. Just Stumblefoot afterwards, I'm like, man, Stumblefoot really got me with there's Brandon, like what will he say? He'll say something like, looks like Brandon's computing or something, or like there's our rain brand or something like that.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, well,
That
so
poor little buckaroo.
this would have been the appropriate night, but I guess what it'll be is it'll be Thursday because you're coming on with Rainwater, right?
I should be, yeah.
Okay, well,
Barring any unexpecteds.
well, your
But
delivery
I
hole is not
can't
going to be anything like
anticipate
that.
those.
But yeah, your delivery hole is not going to be a bad unexpected, so it'll be good. But ladies and gentlemen, so that's going to wrap it up for us. Just a couple programming announcement words. I'm glad everything worked tonight. I don't really know how it worked. Kate made it work. I don't know what we were doing. We were a guest way over on the other place, so I don't really know. I'm going to have to go back and watch how the beginning of the show worked out because I was in both ducts and I could hear it over here and I could hear it over here. And it was
weird.
wild what was going on. It was really crazy, but it worked. I don't think it seemed too horrible.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, for the people here in Indiana, we're going to be talking on 93.1 WIBC, Rob Kendall. Not actually going into the studio for this one, just going to be a phone-in interview. And we're going to be talking about House Bill 1338 and J.D. Prescott and what's going on at the State House and all that ridiculous shit. So that will air sometime between 9 a.m. Eastern and noon, and I think it will more than likely be in the 11 to 12 hour, and it will probably be in the 11 to 15 to 12 hour, time period. So check for that.
Typically it up.
Well, yeah, somewhere around in there. But he'll tell me in the morning. You can watch on social media. Maybe I'll post it in the community section on YouTube. We'll also record it. We'll be able to play it tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, we have a show at 9 p.m. That's a pretty good show. It'll be a good show. It won't be this crazy, but we'll be talking about some good stuff. And then Thursday, we're going to have Donald Rainwater on the kickoff of Brandon's birthday month, February. And then
birthday month presents in the mail. That's what it is.
Huh?
I
don't know.
You got my birth month presents for each day of my birth month?
I think it is. Yes, it's kind of like Brandica. It's like Hanukkah. You get a birthday present every day of the month.
It's like
February.
an advent calendar.
Yeah, thank God February is only like 22 days or something like that.
29 this year, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
14 or something. I don't know. I know it's one day. I don't know. I don't know anything about the months or years or anything like that.
Is there shrimp in my mailbox? And it says Dan right now. I got trunk shrimp in the mailbox.
It is a trunk shrimp. A whole 38 pounds of it. A whole 41 pounds of it.
I love trunk shrimp, dude.
41 pounds of
coffee
trunk
cup.
shrimp. You like that?
Yeah.
That's good. And then the last housekeeping note is we've been on the phone with the candidate that's running for Senate, John Rust, and he's also suing the shortest Indiana state representative or state, what is he? Secretary of State ever, Diego Morales. He's suing him for all of our constitutional rights to be able to run. Thank God. We love people like that. So we're going to have him on here soon. I'll let you guys know when that is. And other than that, we will be listening on Rob and Kendall or Kendall and Casey tomorrow, and then be right back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Take care. God bless. I got to get a haircut. So Jack Off Jack said, get a haircut. And so is everybody else. So I got to do it. All right. Well, we will say, you know what to do. Thank you guys. Good night. God bless. Goodbye.
Boy, that stumblefoot really hurt my feelings tonight. I'm glad we're not on a hot night.
I know. I'm glad we're not live.
No, I'm not a fan of stumblefoot. It actually makes me laugh.
Everybody look out for that Mouthwash show on Tuesdays, I guess.
Yeah, I would try to read the comments. I can't react to every comment, but I typically read all of the videos here.
Well, absolutely, yes. That's the thing. I've always been told Brandon goes back in and reads every comment after the show at nighttime. And then
I read them. I'm reading them live. That's probably why half the time I look like I'm falling asleep. I'm trying to follow what you guys are saying while listening.
Right? And I've been told that he writes personalized letters to each and every one of you guys. So please let me know how that works. Let me know if he's been sending this to you.
Good night to you as well. In a letter form. Just write good night, send him a letter.
Yes. Good night, Wanda.
Don't ask how I got your address.
And then also be looking out for the crazy shit with Henry tomorrow, too. I guess he's going to jail.
I guess.
Night.